So hi everyone. So today we will deal with meaning of terms and classical square of opposition. Both are very important topics. So first we will see meaning of terms. So there are two ways in which you can give meaning or define terms. They are actually connotative and denotative. Connotative means it is the emotional or the situation based or the imagination based on the one person who says the word. Okay, that is connotative meaning. And next is denotative meaning, which means the dictionary meaning, exactly what as it is given in the dictionary. For example, if I take the word heaven, the denotative meaning is heaven is a place where you go after your life. As per the beliefs, it is where you go after life. But as for a connotative sense, I can say, we will say mom's lap is heaven. Okay, mom's lap is heaven. Or you say home is heaven. All these means you are giving an emotional touch to the term there. So you are saying when you are sleeping in your mom's lap, you feel like heaven. So that is a different way of using the term. But actually the dictionary, what dictionary says it is where you go after your life as per some beliefs. Okay. So these are the two ways in which you can define terms. Now we will see different types of definition, how you describe a term. They are intentional definition, the first one, that is property or feature based, which means if I am mentioning about Gmail, you know Gmail app is there in your phone for Google Mail, and you say you can send mails with that. It's a Android application, you can receive mails, and also you say all the features or properties of the thing. In that way you can define a word. That is called intentional definition. Then comes extensional definition, in which you say, for example, solar system is there, right? So you say the class members, you define the class members, Mercury, Earth, Venus, Mars, like that you define the class members. That is extensional definition. Then lexical definition, which means the dictionary meaning, the exact dictionary meaning. Then comes stipulative definition, where you use slangs or idioms, something like that. So that will vary according to the situation or from person to person. Okay. For example, you say be like sun, means you have to shine like the sun. So that is a slang or an idiom. Okay, that is stipulative definition. Then precising definition means you clarify the vagueness. For example, if I say the virus is harmful, if a person is saying it on a medical background, it is the virus like COVID virus or chickenpox virus or smallpox virus. But a person is telling it on the computer science background, it means the virus that infects your computer. It is a small programming code. Virus is a small piece of code that harm your computer. So also again, if I am saying the virus is harmful to your body, again there I have to be precise whether it is COVID virus or SARS-CoV virus or whatever it is. So that you have to specify it exactly. That kind of definitions are called precising definitions, because they precisely tell what you mean. That is, they clarify the vagueness. There is no confusion after that. Okay, then comes persuasive definition, which means emotion based. A typical example said is consider abortion. Okay, a priest or someone like that may say that abortion is very bad, you should never do that at any situations. He'll say it in an emotional way. But if you go and meet a doctor regarding, he'll say if it is necessary for you, if it is bad for your health, or there are any other issues, the doctor may support that. So there are two different ways two different people define it in two different ways. So it is according to the person that person might define. So that is persuasive definition. Then comes operation definition, that is you explain the steps. Okay, for example, you want to make pasta, so I will define that as first boil the pasta, then put some oil, then salt some garlic and tomato and all, then add the pasta, and in that way I define something. Okay, that is called operational definition, step based. Then you have functional definition. Functional definition means purpose based. For example, a water bottle is there, so I can define it as I can store water, I can drink water from it, I can keep it in my bag. So based upon the function or the purpose, you define it. Then comes ostensive definition. See, I am saying a red circle. Red circle. Is it possible for me to define it in a verbal way? No. But what I can do is I can draw a red circle or show a red circle to the person to define it. so it is understood clearly. That kinds of definition that you do by showing or representing something is called ostensive definition. Then you have analogous definition. The typical example that I can say is CPU of a computer is called as brain of the computer, right? You define CPU as the brain of a computer. You're relating or you're telling some similarity with the brain of a person. So it's a brain of a computer. It's like a brain, okay? So that is analogous definition, analogous or similarity based. Okay. So that's all about definitions. You might be given a particular name of the definition and ask how it defines, or vice versa. You'll be given a particular way something is defined and you'll be asked which kind of definition is this. So sometimes an example will be given and you will be asked which kind of definition is this. So anyhow questions can come. There are chances questions will be asked. Okay. So study this portion very well. So next let me move on to the very important topic, that is classical square of opposition. 1 to 2 questions are for sure. Okay. So you know all the 4 squares of proposition, right? A, E, I, O. A means all SRP, E means no SRP or all SR not P. Anyway you can take. I means some SRP, O means some SR not P. Okay. So we can see all these categorical propositions, they have some relation or they have some interrelation with each other. That is represented using this contrary, contradictory, subcontrary, subalternation. Here also subalternation. So we will see what each one of them defines. So I'll clear the screen. First one is contradictory. Contradictory means if one is true, if one of them is A, so here which are all contrary, first let me say that. A and O are contradictory to each other. Similarly, I and E are contradictory to each other. So what contradictory says is if one is false, the other, if one is false, the other should be true. Okay. So if one is false, the other should be true. Okay. For example, all men are good. If I take this A, all men are good. All men are good. This is false. Okay. All men are good is false. Then some men are not good should be true, right? If I have 10 men and I am saying all men are, 100 men and I am saying all men are not good, that is false. Then there should be some men who are not good. That is O. O means some men are not good. Some men not good. So that should be true. So if one of them is false, the other has to be true. Same with E and I. For example, I am telling all butterflies, no butterflies are pink. Are pink. If this is false, what does that mean? I am saying no butterflies are pink at all. So if this E is false, then what should be true? Some butterflies are true. There will be at least one butterfly who is true. Who is pink. So if one is false, the other has to be true. Okay. Next is, this is contradictory. Next is contrary and subcontrary. I'll explain it together. Contrary means both cannot be true. Both cannot be true. That is, if A is true, then E will never be true. Let's take a simple example. I am saying all Indians are hardworking. All Indians are hardworking. If this is true, can this statement, that is no Indians are hardworking, can this be true? Never. It should be false. Okay. So if one is true, the other has to be false. Similarly, subcontrary means both cannot be false. Both cannot be false. It's given in the next slide, all these points. So I am saying that some mangoes are tasty. And I am saying some mangoes are not tasty. Can both of them be false? No, at least either some should be tasty. Both cannot be false at the same time. Some mangoes are not tasty. This is some mangoes are tasty. Both of them cannot be false at the same time. Next is subalternation. I'll clear the screen. Subalternation, you can remember it in a very easy way. Remember this phrase always: down with true, up with false. That is, if this is true, this has to be true. Similarly, if this is true, this has to be true. And in the upward direction, if you take, if I is false, A has to be false. Similarly, if O is false, E has to be false. For example, I am saying A. All books are nice. All books are nice. So, of course, some books are nice. That is true. Okay. Similarly, reverse if you take, I am saying some book are nice is false. So, of course, what happens? All book are nice must also be false. Similarly, this side also. So, don't forget this. Keep all these things in your mind. So, it will be needed for doing your questions, which will be discussed in another slide after the completion of the module. So, here are some points that you have to remember. Contradictory means if one is false, the other has to be true. Contrary means both cannot be true. Subcontrary means both cannot be false. Subaltern means down with true, up with false. Remember this phrase, okay. So, sometimes you will be given, for example, sometimes you will be given two statements and asked like, if this is true, which other cannot be true, which other should be false, all these things. So, remember this, you can answer these questions in a very easy way, okay. So, and regarding the distribution of the subject and predicate for each of them, this also please keep in mind. Just by heart this, if for A and E the subject is distributed, for I and O the subject is undistributed. For A, predicate is undistributed, for E it is distributed, for I it is undistributed, and for O it is again distributed regarding the predicate. So, you can by heart this, okay. This is already covered.